Eric Berry is not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video shall be construed as financial advice. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes. Errors and omissions may occur. Please do your own research.
If you haven't made money in Tesla, Bitcoin, and Apple, are you even an investor? Are you even paying attention? People know that I'm up 1,200% on Palantir, that I'm up 750% on Hood. So they want my opinion. They're always asking me about these finance YouTubers. They want to know about Meet Kevin. They want to know about Chris Sane. They want to know about Strongman. They want to know about Graham Steffi. So in this video, I'm going to compare Meet Kevin to Strongman Personal Finance and see if we can figure out who is better at stocks and just understanding the stock market. All right, here we go. Just to give you a quick backstory, Meet Kevin got started on YouTube making videos about real estate. Then he started trolling Grant Cardone. Then he started making videos about stocks. And then he hit the mother lode when he started making videos about stimulus checks. He made dozens of videos about stimmy checks, and that's what really put him on the map. Now, Strongman Personal Finance, he got started making boring-ass whiteboard videos while wearing his grandmother's sunglasses, and he slowly became frustrated because he wasn't getting much traction. He wasn't getting a lot of views, and he was noticing that these other people that he deemed to be idiots and grifters were getting a ton of views and a ton of respect. So he started making videos calling these people out, of which Meet Kevin was one of them. And Meet Kevin actually agreed somehow to do a debate with Strongman on Strongman's channel. And that kind of put Strongman Personal Finance on the map. Okay? So the first thing we're going to look at here is credentials. What kind of credentials do these two have? Now, Meet Kevin is a pilot. He's a YouTuber. He's a real estate broker. He was a gubernatorial candidate. That's kind of just a fancy way of saying that he ran for governor, which sounds impressive, but, I mean, Gary Coleman did it. Gary Coleman did it. Now, Strongman Personal Finance used to call out Meet Kevin for not being a financial advisor because a lot of what he was doing in his earlier videos, I think most people would describe as giving financial advice. So Meet Kevin actually went and got all those FINRA certifications, you know, the 7, the 14, a whole bunch of them, which may or may not still be active. That is unknown. Now, Strongman Personal Finance, he is a CPA. He got a bachelor's in accounting, a master's in accounting, and then he became a CPA. I believe he's still in the reserves. And he also was a financial advisor at some point. And he did something at NASA. Always complaining about his work at NASA. I don't know what he did there. Maybe he was a janitor. I'm going to give this one to SMPF. I'm going to give this one to Strongman. You know, the CPA don't play. Let's go with him on this one. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is professionalism. If you're going to listen to somebody about stocks, you want them to be professional, right? So let's talk about Meet Kevin. You know, sometimes he's got pink hair, sometimes he's got green hair, sometimes he's got a messy beard. But in general, he's articulate, he's thorough, he gets his point across, he's got good audio, he's got good video. He'll cover a ton of information very quickly and efficiently. And overall, very polished, very polished. Now, strongman personal finance, sometimes he's got his shirt off. Sometimes he's got a dip in. Sometimes he makes this like mating sound. So for this one we're going to give to Meet Kevin. We're going to give this one to Meet Kevin. Next thing we're going to look at is who took the biggest L. Meet Kevin. He shuttered his ETF called PP. It was very short-lived. I got to think he spent more time hyping up that he was going to have an ETF than it actually existed. So that's a big L right there. Let's talk about strongman. Biggest L. He chickened out on Alibaba. Now, he made all these videos hyping up Alibaba, and he bought like $6-7 grand worth of it. And then he got cold feet and he sold it at $95 a share. This thing went up to $180. He could have doubled up. So he's going to take the L on that. He doesn't seem to know how to factor in meme magic or heat to a stock. He just reads those financial statements, looks at the PE ratio, the revenue, and that's it. So, who gets the bigger L? I'm going to give it to Meet Kevin. Let me see here. We'll be talking about the biggest W. Who got the biggest W, the biggest win? From what I could find doing a little research, it looks like Meet Kevin has made about $2-3 million on Tesla stock, selling Tesla stock. So that's a huge win. Strongman personal finance. He's always faithfully hyping VT, the ETF VT. What's his big win? He predicted the downfall of Chef, Tattooed Chef. This is one of his crowning achievements, predicting that. And no one saw this coming. One of the other finance YouTubers, Jeremy LaFufu, used to go to Target undercover and kind of hang out by the freezer section, and he would tally how many people were buying the soy boy meal. And based on that, this other guy, Jeremy LaFufu, he had it pegged as being a big hit, a big winner. But even with all that evidence to the contrary, Strongman predicted Chef's downfall and ended up being right. Now, the sad thing is, he predicted a lot of stocks dive bombing, Honest, Voyager Digital, Tattooed Chef, etc. But as far as I know, he never got any put options. So I think for the W, we're gonna have to give this one to Meet Kevin. Gonna have to give the biggest W to Meet Kevin. The next thing we're going to look at here is investing strategy. Strongman. He doesn't want you to use your brain. Okay, he wants you to get a diversified ETF and just consistently invest on a schedule. Now, this makes perfect sense if if you have a work 401k where they do a match, if a company is going to pay me to invest every week or biweekly with my pay period, I'll do that, right? But if I'm self-funding my Roth, you better believe I'm going to time the market. Now, remember, the person that invented the phrase "don't time the market," they didn't have the internet. They didn't have anything. Pull up this chart of 2025. Do you want to take a guess at when I invested my funds in my Roth? You want to take a guess when I did that? When I picked the funds or stocks where I wanted it to go? Can you take a guess at what part of 2025 I did that? Right here. Now, Strongman would say that's illegal. I shouldn't have been able to time the market. When I saw the market drop 20%, I shouldn't have take advantage of that situation. Now, if you can read and have a brain, hopefully you can make some moves. I don't know. Did you not see that the chips were going to be a thing? So I was saying, Strongman doesn't want you to use your brain. Meet Kevin wants your brain to explode. I mean, he gets down in the weeds about every little thing. Trump said this, Trump said that, crypto, every damn thing. He'll make a video about the Fed chairman farting and want to make a play based on that. Now, sometimes he'll hype a stock in a video, and then on a live stream, he'll say, "Oh, I found new information. This stock is trash." So, unless you're watching every piece of content he's putting out, you don't really know where he stands on something, on a particular stock, or whether he's bullish or bearish. It's changing by the day, by the hour, by the minute. He's all over the place. Pricing power, buying on margin, trying to hedge, FUD farts with a veneer of overconfidence. Something like that. It's just drama for your mama. I think of investing kind of like jury duty on a civil case. The preponderance of evidence show that your prediction is more likely than not. Now, you also could up it to the criminal standard, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. Like during the meme stonk craze, it was beyond a reasonable doubt that GameStop was going to tendy pop if Robinhood hadn't intervened and halted the stock and only allowed sells and no buys. So that's kind of how I look at the stock market. I want to give you an example here. Let's take Cracker Barrel. So in the matter of 2-3 days, they announce to the world they're not doing well, and they piss off all their customers. Is that enough evidence to buy a put option? I don't know. You tell me. Strongman would say no. He would say you can buy X amount of Cracker Barrel as long as it's 1 to 5% of your portfolio, but you're not allowed to capitalize on a situation. Yeah, I actually don't mess around with options too much. It's just kind of risky. You could buy a call option, get into a car accident, be put into a medically induced coma, and then while you're out, your option hits the strike price, it executes, and then the stock immediately tanks. Then you wake up from the coma, and the doctor says, "I have good news and bad news." The good news is you survived. The bad news is you're left holding the bag on Adobe. So I'm going to give this to Strongman investing strategy. Yeah, I think for the average investor, the basic normie, it's probably the safer bet. And that makes the winner Strongman from the channel Strongman Personal Finance. Good job. You won. You won something. Don't sue me, Kev. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe and check you later. Bye-bye.